Hey guys, Tori here from Overlook Horizon. Welcome back for another attempt at Starship flight number 8. We're back here today. We're going to give it another go. If you were with us last time, or maybe if you weren't with us last time, we were here on Monday to try to launch Starship flight test number 8. We had a hold in the count that got called pretty early on. Some sort of issue that they resolved. Got all the way down to T-minus 40 seconds. They have kind of a built-in hold period, right around 40 seconds to go. Held there for a little bit, a couple of minutes. Thought they had it resolved. Count started running again. Then they tripped a whole bunch of automated triggers. And we went back to the T-minus 40 second hold. And then they determined that there was just too many things to deal with, too many things that were wrong. Scrubbed the launch on Monday. So we got back to, we're now on to Thursday here. They spent a couple of days. They destacked the rockets, did some inspections, and now they're ready. They're ready to give it another shot today. So glad you're here joining us. We'll go through, in case maybe you missed it on Monday, but we'll go through what the mission is, what we're looking for today, what went wrong on Flight 7. Because, of course, Flight 7 was a little bit short. Only about 8 minutes long. Not the full hour and 6 minutes that we're hoping for today. But we'll go through all that kind of stuff. Right now, we are still an hour and 5 minutes away from launch. So we've got a little bit of time. The targeted launch time is right at the opening of the window, which is 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 Central Time. That's an hour and 5 minutes from now. Now, that is the opening of the window. So they do have a full hour available to them. So if they do have to hold at all, they've got some extra time that they can hold and work some things out and decide what they want to do from there. So we've got some time going on here. So hello to everybody. We'll check in with all the chat here. We'll see who's with us and make sure our chat's here. Oh yeah, there we go. The chat's coming up on the screen. Perfect. Fairgrounds here. Cannot wait. Darren says, let's do this. Here we go again from Web Chanter. Web was with us on Monday for sure. Let's see. Marvin said, glad you made it. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to make this one, but I'm here. I made it. Nina's with us saying hello. My friend Chad Colby, fellow NASA social alum, saying hey to everybody. Also fellow pilot. Probably one of the main reasons why I got into flying and became a pilot in the first place, because of Chad Colby. Not the only reason, but I'll give him a lot of credit. Probably a big reason why I became a pilot. Let's see. Hillary's here with us. Who else is checking in? Justin says, I could tell you just woke up. I didn't just wake up, actually. I've been awake all day, but I did have to work late last night, so I was up late. Let's see, who else is checking in? T. Brookies here from West Virginia. I clicked on Random Elvis. Random Elvis, I started reading Random Elvis. I would love to drive the NASA crawler. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I read the rest of it. I was like, that's not where I thought you were going with that, but I would love to drive the NASA crawler. I was just gonna put a period at that point and just leave it right there. That's where I was gonna end it. All right, let's get on that note. We'll check in with what we've got for a mission here today. Actually, before we do, I'm gonna fix my lights. 1 second. I don't like the lights, the Overlook Horizon sign behind me gets too bright. I like it like this, where you can actually feel like you can read it better if it's not quite so bright. There. Looks better, I think. Okay, so let's talk about our mission here for today. So obviously, let's see, we'll pull up some visuals. Where's our visuals? We'll start with Let's see. We'll start with this one to begin with, and we'll make it full screen. Just so we can see a rocket. Everybody wants to look at a rocket. I don't have a live view of it right now, but we should have SpaceX going live here in about half an hour. So let's just talk about a little bit of what our mission objectives are here for today, what we're expecting for the actual flight, what went wrong with Flight 7. So today, this is largely a repeat of what they tried to do on Flight 7. So one of the big things that we're trying to do on Flight 8 today is going to be an actual payload deployment. So Starship is going to attempt to use its little Pez dispenser payload deployment and deploy 4 Starlink simulator satellites into a suborbital trajectory. Now, this mission here today, it's not going fully orbital. It's still going to be suborbital. I'll show you the trajectory in just a minute, but suborbital trajectory, they're going to deploy some satellites, kind of test that out because they're trying to get to the point where they can start using this operationally. And really, Starlink is probably the first thing that makes sense to use it for operationally. So that'll be a big thing. They wanted to do that on Flight 7. Flight 7 never got to that point. We've also, they're going to have to demonstrate a Raptor engine relight in space. They have done this once before. They wanted to do it again on Flight 7. They're going to try to do it again today. Hugely important to demonstrate relights. Those relights in space are primarily for the deorbit burn. Where's the button?
It's going to deorbit.
There it is. That's the button I was looking for. The deorbit burn.
Deorbit.
They have to deorbit and come back safely and where they actually want to, in an actual targeted location, not just wherever it ends up. So the Raptor engine relight, super, super important.
It's going to deorbit.
Right. So they're going to demonstrate that as well today. And then hopefully we can start getting closer, or maybe even as early as next flight, get into orbital or close to orbital, maybe full lap kind of trajectories so that we can start getting Starship close to being operational. So trying to get to that point. We've also got a lot of aggressive re-entry experiments happening today. So there are a ton of heat shield tiles that have been intentionally removed. So they're trying to stress test a lot of unprotected areas. So there are a ton of heat shield tiles removed. It's usually one tile, like in all various different places of the vehicle. There's actually a lot more on Monday. They showed them all, but a lot more than I expected. But a lot of heat shield tiles removed. There are a couple of new metallic heat shield tiles, new type of material they're trying to test and optimize and find out what's best. And then one of those metallic tiles is actually actively cooled. So they've got some active cooling going on that one tile. And then some of the tiles, they also have added tapered edges to them to reduce some of the hot spots. So we've seen on all the flights that actually got to reentry, a lot of hot spots have happened. Particularly, we all probably saw the little flap that barely survived all the way to the first re-entry landing that we saw, and a lot of burn through on that one. But even the next one that largely survived still wasn't perfect, wasn't completely undamaged, and that had some burn through as well. So they're trying to eliminate a lot of that as well. Let's see. The other, what else did I miss here on my list here? Forward flaps. So we talked about that last time. We'll get the old, let's see. We'll get the old model out here. So here's my Starship, or maybe better yet, we probably ought to go to this side here so you can see it a little bit better. Here's my Starship model. The forward flaps up here, up at the top, they have been made smaller. So they're a little bit smaller now, and they've been pushed forward closer to the nose, and they've been pushed leeward towards the leeward side. So if it's re-entering, let's see if I can do this without breaking anything. Highly doubt it, but we'll try. So if it's re-entering this direction like this, they've been pushed towards the backside, not towards the belly. They're pushed towards the backside a little bit, closer to the nose, made a little bit smaller, to try to eliminate some of that burn through that we saw on some of those earlier flights. So some changes to the flaps that we've seen as well. My older Starship 3D printed model here. Of course, there's a lot more change. This is one of the early Starship flight versions. Of course, there are much newer versions available for from the 3D printing company. More Than 3D is where that came from. So other thing that there's a lot of some radar upgrades that they're testing from the actual launch tower itself, or the catch tower is really what they're testing on the radar. They added on the last flight, they added some additional protection for some of the sensors on the tower that got damaged on not flight 7. What was it? Flight 6. They got damaged and they could not do the booster return because some of those sensors on the tower got damaged. So they added some protection to those sensors for flight 7. Those, of course, are still there for this flight. And then there's a ton of other upgrades to this flight as well, if we're especially when we're comparing it to flight 6. A lot of avionics upgrades, power upgrades, battery upgrades, all kinds of stuff. They're increasing propellant capacity as well, which is going to allow for more payload to orbit. So there's a ton of upgrades on this particular mission itself. Again, though, largely a repeat of the flight 7, right? So flight 7 attempted to do a lot of this stuff. So if we go back, if we're talking about what happened on flight 7, we had launch, all the Raptor engines ignited, all 33 of them, normal ascent burn. We had successful hot staging, separation, hot staging, all that went well. When they did the boost back burn, only 12 of the 13 engines lit. So we did have one engine out. That engine later came back on, I think it was it the landing burn or the entry burn that it came back? I think it was the entry burn that it came back. Then we had a successful booster catch. It's fantastic. That was great. The upper stage, though, whole different story. So after separation, all the engines ignited. It was perfectly fine, but then they got 2 minutes into the burn. There was a little bit of a flash that they saw near some of the Raptor vacuum engines. Sensors were starting to detect a pressure rise in what's an unpressurized area known as the attic, which is right above the engines, which basically indicates a propellant leak. So the pressure starts to rise because propellant and gases are accumulating in that unpressurized area. And, well, that was weird. Might have to reboot my soundboard because it keeps clicking out. Anyways, I'll continue. So that propellant leak started happening, pressure started to rise, and what was happening is that there are vents in that unpressurized area, the attic area, but they couldn't vent off the propellant leak fast enough, and eventually they ignited, they caught fire, and that started shutting down some of the engines because of the fire. Then you got asymmetrical thrust, and then the vehicle went out of control and flight termination system activated. They lost signal about 8 minutes and 20 seconds into the flight. So that's what happened. And ultimately what happened, so we talked about the flash and the unpressurized area becoming pressurized, and what ultimately happened was the vehicle started seeing harmonic vibrations that were much stronger than anything they had seen in previous tests or previous ground tests as well. So that vibration kind of overstressed a lot of the components, especially in the propulsion system. That's what caused the propellant leaks, and that's kind of where it snowballed. The propellant leaks overwhelmed the ventilation system. Eventually, those flammable gases caught fire. Engines shut down, asymmetrical thrust, vehicle, and end of mission. So that's what happened on Flight 7. So now they've done a whole bunch of things since then. So they upgraded some feed lines for the vacuum engines so they can handle the vibrations. The propellant temperatures in the feed lines have been reduced. They've also lowered the thrust targets for the upper stage engines to kind of reduce some of the stress and vibrations as well. They added more ventilation for that attic area to hopefully not overwhelm the ventilation. They also added a gaseous nitrogen purge system to flush out leak propellant before it can ignite, basically overwhelming that area with nitrogen to kind of preventing it from igniting in the first place. And then in the future, once we get into Raptor 3, that'll hopefully be less of an issue because Raptor 3 has fewer parts that have been deleted and taken out so that they don't have to worry about the components that are most prone to leaking or breaking. Like a lot of them have been completely removed. So that'll be once they get the Raptor 3 engines in full use for future missions. So anyways, long-winded stuff. That's kind of where we're at today. That's the explanation. And that's what we're doing. We'll grab a couple questions, then we'll look at trajectory here. We'll check in with the chat because I've been rambling on for a long time. So let me scroll. We'll scroll back and go through some of the chat. Yeah, a couple people confused on my image. It's not a live image of the rocket. I was just showing a picture of the rocket just so you weren't staring at my face the whole time. But yeah, I don't have a live image yet. We'll have some live images here in about 15 minutes or so. We'll start to see the vehicle live. Let's see what else we missed. What fuel is used in the rocket? So it's a methalox fuel system. So you got methane, liquid oxygen. Those are your two primary fuels here that we're burning. Much different than the Falcon 9, which is rocket grade kerosene, RP1, and liquid oxygen. Primary reason for that is, the theory is that this is going to fly to the moon and to Mars, and on Mars it'd be much easier to potentially produce methane for this, where we could actually have a return trip and bring people home. So different fuel than what we see on Falcon 9. Let's see what else we missed for some questions, and then we'll go into the trajectory. Yeah, a lot of people confused on the dark image. It is daylight in Texas right now. I did show a nighttime picture, but it is daylight in Texas. Let's see. Oh, my friend Chad Colby. Thanks very much for the super chat, Chad. I appreciate that. Thank you. This is Chad's 5th super chat on a live stream. Thank you very much, Chad. Very generous of you. Jeremy is just excited. Let's light this candle. Let's see. Angel just saying attempt number 2. Glad you're able to make it. Yeah, we're pretty excited here for today. Realistically, this is a good question. Marco wants to know, realistically, do you think SpaceX can go to, I'm assuming he means Mars. Do you think SpaceX can go to Mars in 2026? I mean, that seems super ambitious. I mean, based on where we are right now, like, I don't know how that could be possible with where we are right now and how much is still left to do. That said, if this mission goes well and we don't have to have a long delay or an investigation or things like that, and they're able to do a bunch of missions leading up to it, I could see them like really pushing forward, even if like the vehicle's not totally ready, like completely foolproof. Like I could see them sending, I don't know, a cargo mission. I don't know if they would actually bring cargo, but just like a proof of concept mission where they're like, like we really want to do this. Let's just send it and see what happens. I wouldn't put it past them to do that. Like it doesn't seem like it could possibly be ready in 2026, but I can see them trying for it and just being like, yeah, what's the worst that could happen? Let's give it a go. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Alex wants to know, have I ever been to Starbase? I have not yet been to Starbase. I would really like to go down, but I have not been there yet in person. What's the cargo size for this launch, and do we know what? Well, so the only cargo being launched on this is there are 4 Starlink simulator satellites that they're going to deploy to simulate a payload deployment. So they do have 4 Starlink simulator satellites. There's plenty more room for payload, but they're only sending 4 simulator satellites just to kind of test it out. Remember, it is a suborbital trajectory. It's not going orbital, so it's only technically going to be in space for, less than an hour. Not a ton of time in space today. Let's see. Paul Sadu, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it, Paul. Says fingers crossed for today. Appreciate that. Yeah, hopefully we get to see a launch today. There you go. Greg Wood says if they get orbital refueling done, then Mars is just a step away. Right. Yeah. I mean, orbital refueling. It seems like that's not too far off, and yeah, that's going to be a big component. Obviously, getting orbital, right? Starship hasn't actually gone orbital yet. We've only been suborbital trajectories, so that'll be a big one as well. The Raptor relight that we're seeing today, another proof of concept. Like, we've done this before, but really got to be able to do that pretty reliably, especially if you're going to try to go to Mars. Like, you're going to need to relight the Raptor engines a couple of times. So. Let's see. Carl says, if they get to Mars, how will they get back? Mars gravity is lower, but surely they'll need some kind of launch infrastructure or even a booster. Yes. Well, so I don't know if they fully worked out the return part yet, but yeah, in theory, I mean, the gravity is lower. Like, you might be able to just do it just with the Starship the upper stage ship fully fueled. If you're able to, refuel on Mars, might be able to just do it with that. I don't think they're going to have full Starship factories there to build a booster. So I think the theory is just to launch the Starship to try to bring people back. If you have a couple of them there, like you could do one that launches fuel, one that launches whatever your cargo is that's coming back. I think we're pretty long ways away from the return trip at this point. I think we're still years away from figuring that out. I mean, I'm sure they've thought about it, but I don't know if we've actually seen the exact practical way that they're going to handle that yet. I think right now they're just trying to say, like, let's see if we can get it to Mars. Mike, are there any plans yet as to when the first tanker will be sent into orbit? Will this tanker also be necessary to fly towards the moon? Yes, I think they will need a tanker to refuel when they get it into orbit, whether you're going to the moon or going to Mars. There's been no plans yet for actually launching a tanker, but right now they haven't put Starship in orbit, period, yet. So it was kind of like, let's get Starship into orbit to start with. Then we got to worry about landing the Starship upper stage at some point. But yeah, we've got some steps along the way. I think you're ahead of us at the moment. Yeah, a lot of this, remember SpaceX is working. The Starship is going to be part of the Artemis human landing system, the HLS. They got to do that, really, but that's a big priority. Assuming Artemis doesn't get canceled. A lot of talk recently about Artemis possibly getting canceled, so that's certainly a possibility as well. But right now it's still on the books for being part of the Artemis program, and they need Starship to do the actual landing part. Liam says, hopefully it goes up and comes back down in one piece this time. Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure. Maybe Liam said that. He might have been the one that said this on Monday. Somebody said, I hope it comes back down. Well, it will definitely come back down. Just the question is, in how many pieces? Preferably, we want, 3 pieces? The Starship, the Super Heavy booster, and then the third one will be the hot stage ring in between. So 3 pieces they're allowed to have. Up to 3. Preferably exactly 3, actually, I should say. Adrian, surely they will have to have landing legs if they try to land on the moon or Mars. Yes, definitely going to have some sort of landing legs. We saw that on the Starship upper stage, though, like when we were doing the up and down tests with Starship. They had the landing legs added to the bottom. So, yeah, they're definitely going to need some sort of landing legs if they're actually landing it on the moon or on Mars, unless it's, sometime years down the road they build a catch tower there. But, yeah, they'll need some sort of landing legs to land on the moon and Mars. They don't need landing legs for the landings here, right? They are trying to catch it using the second tower. So actually on this mission, they have some simulated catch fittings. They're non-structural, so they can't actually catch it with these fittings, but they're testing it for heat shielding purposes and aerodynamics. So those are also on this flight here today. Carl says, I won't book my return ticket yet. Yeah, I don't think the return tickets from Mars are on sale quite yet. Just hold off on that. All right, so let's we'll move on here. Let me see. Let's see where we are. I'll go into trajectory. I just want to check. Make sure we're not missing anything yet. Nope, they haven't gone live yet. I'm not expecting them to go live for another 5 minutes. Nobody in chat has mentioned any sort of delays, so hopefully there's no delays that I know about. Propellant loading is underway now, which you can see on my timeline. The booster fueling has begun. So we're progressing towards an on-time launch right now, which is great news. That'll be good news so far. So SpaceX should be going live. Expecting them to go live in like 5 minutes or so. We'll see when they show up. But in the meantime, let's take a look at our trajectory here for today, just so that we get an idea of what we're looking at. That's not the visual you want to see. You want to see this one. So this is courtesy of my friend Declan over at flightclub.io. But launch today happening in Boca Chica, Texas. Someday, maybe we'll launch these from Florida, but right now, it's in Boca Chica, Texas, down here on the Texas and Mexico border, right on the edge here. So we're going to head up. Let's see. Oh, we're sideways. How did this happen? How do I fix this? I don't. All right, everybody just tilt your head sideways. How did I do this? Hold on. Let's see. 3D maps are always so difficult to navigate around. Well, now I'm stuck. I'm in the ground. There we go. Woo! I'm alive. I'm flying. We can't get up. Okay. All right. Okay. There we go. That's the view I wanted. Jeez. Okay. So we're going to launch into orbit here. We're going to take off. We're going to go up, follow this red arc here. Then we're going to get hot staging. Notice that it stays red the entire time, meaning that the engines are on. Hot staging, we'll hear a call out that's MECO. In this particular instance, MECO stands for most engines cut off. Usually it's main engine cut off. That's probably what most people are familiar with. But in this instance, in the context of Starship, it's actually most engine cut off because they leave a couple engines on when they do the actual separation event between the booster and the upper stage Starship. So we get hot staging. Starship will continue on, follow the big red line into orbit. The booster, flip around, we'll do a boost back burn, start heading back towards the tower for the catch attempt. Now the catch attempt, in order to get a green light for the catch attempt, it needs a manual command from the ground that says everything's okay, you can go for the catch attempt. If they don't get that, initially after the boost back burn, Starship targets the water. It's going to target the water, so if they don't get the command or something goes wrong, it's going to land in the water. If they get the command, then it'll start gliding back towards the catch tower, the launch tower. Do that using the grid fins primarily. The grid fins will I don't know why my microphone keeps cutting out. That's really driving me insane. The grid fins will kind of push the vehicle towards the launch tower. And then, assuming everything stays good to go and all green, then just a little ways, it's actually going to target just short of the launch tower, just so that if the engines don't light back up, it's just going to crash into the ground and not damage the launch tower. Assuming everything's still green, engines will light up for landing burn, and then it'll land and get caught by the tower kind of at the last minute there. So as we continue into orbit, you can see we take this south-southeast trajectory, goes just south of Florida, over the Caribbean here, and this is about where, right in this area, is where the where Flight 7 went wrong. Right, actually, I think it was back here is where it actually failed. Right up way back here is where the actual failure happened, and then debris kind of started raining all across this path here, with debris landing out here in Turks and Caicos. And yeah, that's kind of the trajectory there, mostly over water. See a little bit over land when we get into the Caribbean there. Then we will flip on over to the other side of the Earth. It'll cross over southern Africa, just graze the southern tip of Madagascar here, and we go over here into the Indian Ocean, where we'll get a hopefully controlled re-entry and a controlled soft water touchdown landing of the Starship in daytime, preferably. So we're launching in the evening here, and then we can see the Terminator line on Earth right now. By the time we actually launch, that Terminator line will be on the other side of the landing site, which is right here, and we should be landing in daytime here, just off the western coast of Australia. So that's the plan and the trajectory for today. As we get a little bit closer, let's before we get to, I was going to show you weather, but before we get to the weather, just taking a look at our hazard map. This is the hazard maps of NOTAMs and NOTMARs. These are notice to airmen or notice to air missions. I don't know where we stand on that nomenclature. It used to be notice to airmen, then it got changed to notice to air missions. I think it's now been changed back maybe to notice to airmen, or it will be changed back. I don't know. I don't know where we stand. NOTAMs tells pilots and air traffic controllers where they can and can't fly, areas they should stay out of in case there's an event like a breakup like we had last time. But anyways, here's all our hazards going all the way out to Turks and Caicos, like we had last time, to kind of protect all those. And then for some reason, I don't know why this one's out here. This little extra hazard area. I really don't know why there's just this little extra bit here. Kind of curious about that. Not sure what the deal is there. But anyways, then there's a big giant notice, NOTAM and NOTMAR out here. NOTMARs are for ships and ship captains, things like that. But big giant one along the whole re-entry path here. You know, that's where things can really go wrong. So nice big hazard area there. And then our pin here is the actual exact landing location off the northwestern coast of Australia. Weather today is looking pretty good, so we shouldn't have really any weather issues here today. Still a little bit breezy down in Texas here. 15 mile per hour ground level winds. That's not too bad, though. They were planning on launching that. Just a little tiny bit breezy, but nothing too crazy. You can see the jet stream has kind of gained some organization here compared to Monday. It was a little bit disjointed on Monday, but gained a little bit of organization here. The northern and southern jet streams. Whoa. Where'd we go? Where am I? Up here. Okay, the northern part of this jet stream and the southern part of the jet stream have kind of this is upper level winds at about 10 kilometers or 30,000 feet. They've kind of organized together over the main part of the center of the U.S. here. But still, right over Boca Chica, we're only talking 80 mile per hour upper level winds. Not too bad. And then they follow the trajectory out here. They're really 80 mile per hour. It's nothing too crazy on our winds. I mean, you get up here into, over Oklahoma, we're 140 mile per hour winds when you get into the center of that jet stream. But we're still kind of off on off on the side here, so nothing too crazy for upper level winds. So, and then if we look at our satellite view, we've actually got some pretty clear skies here today, so nothing too crazy on the clouds. Down in Texas, radar's got no precipitation happening really anywhere along the flight path, so we're pretty clear there. So things are looking pretty good for launch today. I think if the vehicle holds together and wants to cooperate, I think we could be in pretty good shape for a launch today. Hopefully an on-time launch. That would be fantastic. So, let's see. What else did I miss here for comments? Angel says the SpaceX stream is up, but nothing for content yet. Let's take a look. Oh, yep, I see it. So that's perfect timing. We'll do that, and then we'll throw it over here, and then we'll be ready. We'll be ready when they're ready for us. Let's see. Tori with the weather. Hi, Tori. This is weather at the top of the hour with Tori here at Overlook Horizon. Gotta cover the weather. Everybody wants to know about the weather, right? Soup Sandwich says there's so much stuff orbiting the Earth at different altitudes. I'm amazed and thankful nothing gets hit. Yeah, there is a ton of stuff up there, but the sky is big. It always comes up, especially when we talk about Starlink satellites. I mean, before Starlink started launching, there were 5,000 satellites in orbit or something like that. I think we may have doubled that now, or like 10,000 satellites now, but there's still a ton of sky available. Even like you think about the thousands and thousands of planes that are flying around Earth at any given time. Like you never look up at the sky and be like, I can't even see the sky because there are too many airplanes. But there are thousands of airplanes in the air at any moment. And yeah, there's tons of room. I mean, the sky is just, it's huge. It's big. Big sky. So. Let's see. Oh, John over on Facebook. John says 80 mile per hour winds, not too bad for launch. Yeah, the 80 mile per hour winds I was mentioning, those are upper level winds, the ones that are like way up in the air, like 30,000 feet in the air, 10 kilometers in the air. Those 80 mile per hour for upper level winds, not too bad. Remember, the rocket's moving pretty quickly at that point. So 80 miles per hour compared to how fast the rocket's moving is really nothing. You don't want 80 mile per hour winds at ground level when the rocket's not moving. That's cause for concern. I don't think they're going to launch with 80 mile per hour ground level winds, but 80 mile per hour upper level winds, no big deal. Our ground level winds today are only 15 miles per hour, so we're in good shape there. All right, let's listen in to SpaceX, and I'll sync up my clock so that we can match theirs, because I'm about 20 seconds off. So I'm going to sync my clock with theirs, and let's listen into them.
T-minus 40 seconds for several minutes, resume the count, and then trigger another automated hold. The final item that ended the day was when we encountered lower than acceptable pressure on the ground spin start system for 2 of the outer engines on the Super Heavy booster. All Raptor engines use high pressure gas to start up, and we use gas stored on the ground side to start up the 20 outer engines on Super Heavy. By the time this automated hold appeared and the team started to work through it, we also triggered a hold on the booster LOX levels and had to call it for the day.
We were able to trace the spin system issue to just a misconfig on some of the ground hardware, so that had a really straightforward fix. We just took the time, though, to look into some of the other items that resulted in holds throughout the count, including some of our automation was triggering holds on the booster, which we were able to actually clear during that launch attempt by confirming the hardware was healthy, and we had some manual commanding backups. We also looked at some pop-up hardware and software issues on the ship, and just to put us in the best possible spot for a launch today, we destacked Starship, did some repairs inside a ship, and then ran some additional checkouts.
And that brings us to today, just about a month and a half after our last flight, which saw the second ever tower catch of of the Super Heavy booster and the first flight of our upgraded ship, which unfortunately ended much sooner than we had hoped. It's important to remember that in development programs like this, progress is not always linear, and there is no comparison to putting flight hardware in a flight environment to learn as fast as possible. We always want to be in the best possible position to achieve our mission objectives, which is why we stood down from launch on our previous attempt and took the time over the last few days to get ready for launch.
Now, the objectives for today's flight going to look very similar to Flight 7. As always, primary payload for these flight tests is data. We are planning to deploy some simulated Starlink satellites and fly a range of experiments focused on reentry. We removed a whole bunch of tiles again from the ship for reentry testing, looking to really stress test it.
We'll also be intentionally stressing the flaps during reentry so we can test the limits of ship before we get ready to attempt future ship catches. So there is a lot of new testing happening today, and as always, excitement is guaranteed.
Now, just a real quick status check. So you could tell we're loading prop onto the vehicle. We're able to get through our prop load go, no go just about 40 minutes ago. And we are loading liquid oxygen, liquid methane on both vehicles, not tracking any vehicle problems, issues on either booster or ship. Weather is green right now. Winds at the pad are actually significantly lower than they are even just for us over here at the Star Factory. Just a couple mile difference makes a big change in those wind speeds. And range is currently projected to be go, but we are always watching any boats that are out there in the ascent and the entry. Now, let's take a couple of minutes to meet today's vehicle. Sitting there on the pad, it's the world's biggest rocket, Starship.
Starship consists of two stages, the ship, which has 6 Raptor engines, and the Super Heavy booster, which has 33 Raptor engines. Both stages are fully reusable. Super Heavy is the most powerful rocket ever flown and is designed to launch, return, and refuel and launch again.
All right, hold on. I'm going to turn this down for just a minute. Before we get to the real nitty-gritty, when we get to launch, my soundboard for some reason keeps like clicking or something. So I'm going to do the old turn it off and turn it back on again, and we're going to go quiet for just a second. So everybody just like, I don't know, meditate, think for a second. Everything's going to go quiet for just a minute. I've had this happen once before, and usually power cycling my little soundboard here. That here, I'll show you. Let's see. We'll show you. I'll show you what I'm looking at here. this little soundboard here. Every once in a while, it freaks out. So stand by 1 second. It's gonna be quiet for a minute. We're gonna reboot it. Maybe. If I remember how to reboot it. There we go. All right. Quiet.
There's no atmosphere up there. The ship as a whole is designed for vertical takeoff and landing.
All right, we're back.
Hot staging is when the second stage.
Thanks for
engines ignite
entertaining that
while
for a
still
moment.
attached to the
Let's go
first
back to the
stage.
rocket.
There you can actually see a video of our previous hot staging maneuver, or executed on a previous flight, and how the ship's engines light while it's still ignited while the booster's engines are still firing. Basically, the rocket never stops accelerating, which makes it more efficient than traditional stage separation.
And then after we launch the booster, we also have to catch the booster. And we do that by using the 2 robotic arms, the same ones that lift Starship onto Super Heavy before we launch. They also catch the booster when it returns. It means we don't have to have any landing legs in the booster. That's a lighter booster. It means we can put more payload, more stuff going to space.
Thousands of criteria must be met before the booster can return and be caught. It requires a healthy systems and manual commanding from the flight director.
And just like on our previous flights, if that command's not sent before the end of the boost back burn, or if those automated health checks running in the background find any unacceptable conditions on the booster or the tower, they'll kick us out, and the booster can default to a landing burn and a soft splashdown out there in the Gulf.
Yeah, we've said it before. We'll say it again because it still holds true today. We accept no compromises when it comes to ensuring the safety of the public and our team. And the booster return will only take place if those thousands of conditions are right. So as the clock continues to tick down to launch, let's say hello to Chris, who's once again posted up in Hawthorne. How's it going, Chris?
Hey, Kate and Dan, and welcome everyone to Hawthorne, California. As you can hear and as you can see, the crowd is gathering. Excitement is really building here for Starship's 8th flight today. And speaking of flight, let's talk about the Raptor engines, which have quite a workout ahead of them today. Now, our Raptor engines are designed and manufactured right here in Hawthorne, and they have certainly accomplished some impressive things already. They've powered Starship in its first few flights around Earth, and they've helped bring 2 Super Heavy boosters back for a catch by the Mechazilla system at the launch site. But here at SpaceX, we're always looking to improve our designs, and we do this by using something that we call the algorithm. Now, for Raptor, the algorithm has helped us question the requirements for the engine, find the parts that we don't need, and then optimize the design for manufacturability and reuse. This allows us to simplify designs and drives us toward that rapid, reliable reuse. And as you can see on your screen here, it is definitely what we have done with the Raptor engine. Look at that beautiful family photo. You can really see how Raptor 3 is an unprecedented step forward in design. It eliminates the parts we don't need. It moves a lot of stuff inside the engine. And one thing that it also allows us to do is to delete the heavy engine heat shields that are used on the current version of Raptor today. And what that means is that when we switch to the Raptor 3 engine later this year, we'll be able to save about a metric ton of mass per engine. And when you multiply that by 39 or more engines, that's a lot of mass. And that mass savings actually helps us increase Starship's efficiency and the amount of payload that we're able to deliver to space and to Mars with Starship. But before we get to Mars, we still have a lot of important and critical development work to do. And it's flight tests like today's that help us do just that. Needless to say, the Raptor teams here in Hawthorne are very excited for today's flight and to see their hard work fly, just like all of our Starship teams are today for Flight 8. So Dan and Kate, back to you for some more info on Flight 8.
Thanks, Chris. You mentioned development. Let's talk about things that we learned from our last Starship mission. In January, Flight 7 of Starship generated lots of important data. That data led us to change some of our pre-flight testing for today's flight. A major find from Flight 7 was the detection of a harmonic response that was much stronger during flight than anything we had seen during testing.
That's right. Rocket engines create incredible amount of noise, vibration that can pass through every component in the rocket itself. Flight 7, we saw those vibrations at a specific frequency. They were also strong in a strong enough amplitude that it was placing a lot of extra stress on some of Starship's propulsion system. And that's what most likely led to propellant leaks that then cascaded into fires and ultimately our loss of contact with the ship.
As part of our investigation, our team took this flight's ship through a 60-second static fire, which was 10 times longer than any previous static fire. The test cycled through throttle levels to recreate different conditions seen within the propulsion system during flight. You can see that on your screen now. We also tested hardware changes on fuel feed lines to Raptor's vacuum engines.
The additional data we got from this test specifically led to some new hardware that's installed in the RVAC fuel feed lines, which are also unique to this upgraded version of ship. Those feed lines look like large straws. They run through the oxygen tank, and those are delivering fuel directly to those vacuum engines. The new hardware was successful in significantly lowering the strength of that harmonic resonance and relieving the extra stress on the prop system. And then just in addition to new hardware, we made a couple of operational tweaks, adjusting things like the temperature of the propellant as it's being fed to the engines, also changing the throttle level that we're setting those engines at on ascent.
We also looked at where fires broke out in the attic, which is the unpressurized space between the bottom of the ship's liquid oxygen tank and the engine heat shields. Fires here resulted in loss of ship on flights 2 and 7, so we took steps to make it more resilient to leaks. We added a hefty purge system that uses gaseous nitrogen. Similar to the carbon dioxide system on the booster, it floods the zone with an inert gas to help prevent a fire.
Yeah, we also increased the attic's just natural fire defense. We added some more vent holes that helps to keep that attic pressure close to vacuum. As Starship flies into space, makes it harder for a fire to ever exist. And then on the next generation ship, we're going to do the best thing possible and just start deleting some parts.
Yeah, the best part is no part.
The next generation of ship is going to use Raptor 3 engines, which are going to reduce that attic volume, and they're also going to eliminate most of the joints on the engines themselves that can leak into the space.
In the end, these changes represent the core of our test program. We fly hard.
All right, so while they're talking for a minute, I saw a bunch of super chats and a couple questions come in that I just want to address before we get too close to launch here. Saw that Watts became a channel member, joined the ground control. Thanks, Watts, for joining us. And then sent over a super chat on top of that. Said, when the rocket or Starship or parts, etc., land in the ocean, do they retrieve them to keep the ocean clean? It depends. Sometimes they do. A lot of times they do not. A lot of times they'll just sink it and let it go to the bottom of the ocean and turn into an artificial reef. Yeah, a lot of times they don't. It's just becoming an artificial reef, and they send it to the bottom of the ocean. They have retrieved boosters that have crashed into the ocean. They've pulled them out usually when they want to inspect them or kind of do some investigation as to what went wrong. Starship is likely going to be sunk to the bottom of the ocean after it lands today. The second stage Starship, assuming everything goes successful and lands, they'll just sink it. And the booster, if it does a water landing, they could potentially recover it. They may or may not recover it. If it's close to shore like that, like the controlled water landing would be, they may try to recover it if they need it. But yeah, a lot of times they don't. And they just become artificial reefs in the big ocean. Not perfect, but not terrible as well. Like it can become a habitat for wildlife, so not horrendous. But let's see. Thanks for the super chat for sending that in. Thetis sent over a super chat as well. Thank you very much, Thetis Legacy. Nina sent over a super chat as well. Thank you very much, Nina. That's Nina's 5th super chat on live stream and Thetis's 3rd super chat on a live stream of ours. So thank you very much. Let's see. Did I miss anything else that I want to cover here before we switch back to them? DJ said, I thought they try to reuse all the boosters and Starship. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, is to reuse them. We're not quite at that point yet where we can completely right. We're still innovating. They're still improving. So like reusing them is not really what we need at this point, because at this point they're still upgrading. So the next flight they want to do has changes to it. So we're not really reusing full boosters yet. They did reuse an engine. Engine 314 got reused, so they have tested some reuse on a booster engine from the first booster catch that they did. Right now, they're showing all the heat shield tiles that are strategically missing. All those white dots, those are heat shield tiles that they have intentionally removed. And then here, they're highlighting the metallic heat shields. This is a different material. And then that one right there, that is the actively cooled heat shield tile that is on. That's one of the metallic ones that's actively cooled. So a couple experiments, and then they've added a whole bunch of additional Starlink antennas. They got 4 redundant Starlink antennas. They've added this catch fitting. It is a non-structural catch fitting that is testing the performance for when they do catch Starship on the second launch tower. And then some of those tiles have tapered edges on them as well. We've got some additional radar testing happening on the launch tower here. So they've made some upgrades on the radar systems, specifically for those booster catches. But yeah, we're not quite at the point where we're reusing entire boosters or Starships quite yet. some point we'll get there, but right now we're still innovating. We're still testing. This is not an operational program. It's still a test program. So every mission that flies is still different. Still got upgrades to it.
Similar in size to our next generation Starlink satellites. Starship will have the ability to deploy our advanced V3 Starlink satellites, which will help further Starlink's impact in the coming years.
Hopefully we get a video of these Starlink satellites that they're deploying. There's 4 simulated Starlink satellites, Starlink simulator satellites that they're trying to deploy here with this the Pez dispenser that we'll see here, where they kind of spit them out and deploy them into space there. So pretty cool to see. Hopefully we get some video of those actually being deployed, and then you see why it's called the Pez dispenser and how it works here. They kind of just spit these all out like this. It's pretty cool looking. Really hoping there's a camera on board to show that, because that'll be kind of neat to see.
That just helps us get data on the in-space burns and show Starship is capable of deorbiting.
Speaking of deorbiting, thanks to Starlink, one of the hallmarks of the Starship missions are the incredible views that we get throughout flight, and especially during reentry, as evidenced by many a phone and desktop background around here. Yeah. Every day, we're working to expand the Starlink network both on Earth and in space. For how this all connects us to the big mission, let's head back to Chris.
Thanks, Kate. Personally, I love all those epic views of the plasma wrapping around Starship during reentry. Can't wait to see that later today. And fans of Starship may know that Starlink enables us to bring you lots of unprecedented views, both from space and here on Earth. Starlink is the world's largest satellite constellation operating in low Earth orbit today to deliver high-speed, low-latency broadband internet and connectivity, specifically for missions like Starship today. And as you can see on your screen, Starlink brings us many other views because of its capabilities. In addition to the dozens of cameras on Starship itself, we have mobile camera kits with Starlink deployed in the Indian Ocean, which is what you're seeing some footage of right now on your screen from a previous mission. You'll notice the Starlink mini dish in the foreground here as Starship lands in the background. Just what an image that captured from an earlier flight. Now, Starlink also connects our aerial and cinematography units on the ground at Starbase, which will help us deliver the incredible drone shots leading up to launch today. And here on your screen, you can actually see us moving the flaps, preparing Starship for flight, making sure all of the aero surfaces that need to move during flight can do so in the way that we need them to. Now, on Starship itself, Starlink will enable Starship today to stream more than 120 megabits per second of real-time, high-definition video and telemetry in every phase of flight, including views like you're seeing right now of those
cool views of the flaps moving here.
Not only helps provide those views, but it also helps give our engineers an incredible amount of data to help us rapidly and iterate across all parts of the system as we move through our development program. And all of the streaming data today will definitely be put to good use with the more than 30 cameras on the vehicle for flight. But providing epic views is sort of a side quest for Starlink. Its main job is obviously to provide internet access for people around the world, many of whom who have never had connectivity before. Now, today, Starlink serves more than 125 countries, territories, and other markets with over 5 million active customers and counting. And there are just so many inspiring ways that people are using Starlink all around the world and in space. And hopefully today, in a few minutes, everyone will get to see more inspiration about what our future in space looks like. And Dan and Kate, how are we looking for Starship's flight today?
Hopefully we're good.
Thanks, Chris. We are looking forward to those views as well. In fact, we're getting ready to launch Starship in just over 8 minutes. Now, as for a couple status updates, working no major issues on the vehicle. Range is emerald green, you could say. Everything looks great in terms of the sea and airspace here in the Gulf of America, as well as in the Indian Ocean. Of course, we want to make sure both areas are clear as the ship will be splashing down in the Indian Ocean while the boosters can be coming back to us at the launch site just a couple miles behind Dan and I. Weather, you could call it a silver lining that we had to delay from Monday, because holy moly, visibility is 1,000 times better today, and it's going to make for some really great views. Now, leading up to today,
Monday was all overcast, so much better today.
Last night, flight controllers reported to their consoles earlier today. The site was cleared and the range team was deployed.
That's right. And a lot of checkouts have happened just throughout the day, aligning our guidance, navigation, control, getting all the tanks ready for prop load, which has about 4 minutes left to go. You can see us almost topping out on ship, getting ready to top out on booster. And then it also includes getting all the ground support systems checked out, ready to go. Chopsticks were demated, did their wiggle test in advance of their upcoming catch opportunity. So as I just said, prop load's ongoing. We've got a little over about 4 minutes left until, or about 4 minutes. What's 7 minus 4? 4 minutes until we get to closeouts on ship and on booster. We did just hear that the range did pull again green. So we're not tracking any issues right now. Bottom line, things are looking great for launch at the top of our window at 5:30 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah, very exciting.
All right.
Now, once again, we are attempting to catch the booster at the launch tower.
We should hopefully be in good shape here. We're pushing forward to an on-time launch right at the top of the window. 6 minutes to go. Remember last time we held at T-minus 40 seconds, but we're down to 6 minutes here. No issues happening here right now. So this should be pretty exciting. Hopefully we see this launch. 30 cameras on board, which is kind of insane. We don't always get to see all 30 of them, but we definitely get to see a whole bunch. And we're coming up under 6 minutes to go here now.
Is that brief thunder-like noise? I've been fortunate enough to be here for all of them so far. They definitely let you know the vehicle's coming. Here's a little bit about what it's like to experience it.
I love this sound. So
and
cool.
as someone
Love
who
that.
grew up hearing those sonic booms as the shuttles landed in Florida and now hearing them for Falcon and Starship as well, they really are something to experience. And when you hear them, you just know it's a spaceship telling everyone that it wants to be reused. Great sounds. So as you can hear, the room is getting excited here in Hawthorne. The crowd eager to see Starship fly, as you can see. And here, now behind me in our flight control room here in Hawthorne, you can see some of our folks on console. They're assisting the flight controllers in Starbase, keeping an eye on all of Starship's various systems, including its avionics and those Raptor engines we talked about a little bit earlier. So Dan and Kate, with 4 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock, let's hit it back to you at Starbase and hopefully watch Starship lift off today.
Thanks so much, Chris. Now, if you're just joining us, we're now just about 4 minutes until the liftoff of the 8th test flight of Starship. As we reported earlier, range and weather are both very green, super green, if you will, and everything is looking good. Propellant loading continues to happen. We're going to be closing out very soon on both stages of Starship.
Yeah, we're almost fully fueled on our tanks. We're going to see that closeout coming in just about 30 seconds on ship. So that's both the main and the header tanks. And then about 30 seconds later on booster. Once prop load is complete, we got just shy of 1 million pounds of liquid propellant. That's liquid oxygen, liquid methane onto both vehicles. All of our ground systems will do what's called pushbacks. They'll clear all those feed lines. We're not continuously replenishing the propellant on board Starship or Super Heavy. That's why we essentially have several minutes where we can hang out at that T-minus 40 hold point before we start to run into issues with temperatures or just those LOX levels, or that LOX level on the booster is one of the main things that we watch. So we're also going to do a couple of final checkouts. We'll do one final one of the thrust vector control, the TVCs on the booster. We'll see them hopefully do a little bit of a wiggle test. The first one comes at about 1 minute 40 seconds before launch, and then the last one comes right as we pass that T-minus 40 gate. Again, if we need to hold, which we held a couple of times on Monday, we can do so at that T-minus 40 second. We're not currently tracking any issues that would hold us there, but if we do run into that, we can hang out for a couple minutes.
All right, super exciting here. Before we get too far, we got to poll the Space Lobster Nation here.
pause to hold for final checkouts or pressure.
Space Lobster Nation, this is Space Lobster Control. Give me a go, no-go in chat for Starship Flight 8. Let's do it. All right, there we gotta get a formal go, no-go in here. All right, and also, I know that you're gonna hear this stuff with YouTubers all the time, but you know, if you're watching on YouTube, just click the like button for me. It helps out a lot. Super helpful. I won't say it again. I might say it again, but I won't say it again before launch. But right before launch, we're under 2 minutes. Click the like button. It helps. Get your people in here. It's time to watch Starship fly. It's go time now. We're coming up on it here.
Before we start running to do some limits, essentially. On our,
there we go. Everybody's go. Light this candle.
Other things, like if we pass the T-minus
whole bunch of goes coming across on the chat. I love it.
And the
love it.
To flow in that flame deflector, and we scrub. That's automatic scrub for the day. Oh, there's our TVC, our thrust vector control checkout. It's got a little bit of a wiggle there on those inner Raptor engines, those 13 inner ones, which are going to be used for that boost back burn and the landing burn. So cool to see those.
Yeah, I love that shot. We don't have that on Falcon. And it's just so cool to see really the business end of the Super Heavy booster.
Here we go. Under a minute. Let's see. The 40-second mark is the real important one. If there's anything wrong with the vehicle, 40-second is a hold point. We want to see the clock keep on counting.
10 seconds away from that T-minus 40 hold. We'll see.
Oh, we got to hold.
All right, we are going to hold at T-minus 40. We're watching the temperatures on the ship right now for the ship fuel. Sounds like they're working through that. We might be able to release that hold shortly.
It's another hold. We didn't get a lot of...
All right, sounds like we're going to be able to reset those holds, not tracking any other holds.
Yep.
And clock is rolling.
Clock's running. Now my...
And the clock is rolling once again. We're now T-minus 30 seconds till the liftoff of the 8th flight of Starship.
Here we go.
Our flight director, Joe Schleicher, today is go for launch. Let's listen in as he takes us through the final seconds of the count.
T-minus 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're going.
We got the
We're going. Yeah.
Beautiful, pitching that range.
Look at that view.
All right, we're a little over 40 seconds into the flight. We are seeing 33 out of 33 Raptor engines ignited.
We got all engines running right now.
Boosters pushing us downrange over the Gulf. Next milestone coming up in just under 10 seconds is going to be max Q, that max aerodynamic pressure.
Max Q.
There's max Q.
All right, so we're through max Q. That's the heaviest stresses it's kind of seeing on the way up. Wow, that was pretty incredible.
I'm still recovering. That was amazing. Beautiful views of the vehicle on ascent.
That view is
pitching
so
downrange
cool.
away from the launch tower.
Look at that view. That is incredible. That is so cool.
Next thing coming up is hot staging. So we're going to look for 6 engines to ignite on ship while we're still attached to the top of the booster. We'll see all but those 3 center engines shut down on booster.
we got about 30 seconds to
the
go.
Initial call that we are go for booster catch back here at the launch tower.
That's pretty early. That's good news. That's quick. Usually we don't hear that till after.
Coming up now on hot staging. The ship's engines will ignite while still attached to the Super Heavy booster, and also while Super Heavy booster will still be under power itself. The clamps holding the two stages together are going to release.
Watch the engines in the bottom left. We're coming up on hot staging.
Stage engines
Booster engine cut off.
Yeah, there they go. 3 still running. Hot staging.
Ship engine startup.
All engines running on Starship.
Separation.
Yeah. Oh, we got some engines out. We got engines out on the boost back burn. 2 engines are out.
There we go.
Both on the same side, too.
Ship engines, all 6 Raptors ignited. We're doing that boost back burn. Looks like we got 11 of the 13 that we command for that. So that's going to start sending the booster back. We are still go for booster return, even with 2 Raptors out during that boost back. We can do a full duration one. But looks like we got a ship, 6 engines heading into space. And then we got a booster hopefully on our way back to Starbase. How's everything going in Hawthorne, Chris?
Yeah, I don't like. We definitely had 1 engine out the last time, but just having 2 engines out right next to each other, you get a little bit of asymmetrical thrust. I don't like that, but it seems like it's holding up just fine. So looks okay right now.
That's inside the camera, inside the aft skirt, looking at the Raptor vacuum and the sea level engines. The sea level ones there in the center of your screen under our T+ clock. You can see our boost back burn. We're down to 3 engines on the boost back burn. And you can see ship on the right-hand side of that telemetry with 6 engines lit, continuing its ascent to orbit, already over 100 kilometers in altitude. The booster 87 kilometers in altitude and continuing its trek right now back to the landing site and catch site. There's
boost back shutdown.
Boost back
and
shutdown.
You just heard a good call out for boost back shutdown. The next thing we should see on our screen is the separation of the hot stage from the Super Heavy booster. We jettisoned that because we do not need it for the landing, but on future iterations of the Super Heavy, that hot stage ring will be incorporated into the booster and we will get it back. But for today, you can see it on the right-hand side of your screen there, just separating off of from the right-hand side of the booster. You can also see the booster doing its liquid oxygen dump there, which is exactly what we would expect for it to do as the booster gets itself configured for the landing here. Now, meanwhile, Starship will continue to coast after it reaches orbit for about 40 minutes or so up to an altitude of 214 kilometers, but it's still got a ways to go there, currently accelerating past 7,500 kilometers per hour
see the
there
coast.
Velocity. And just look at those great views of the booster coming back. The Gulf coastline there just looks absolutely gorgeous.
Starship is on a nominal trajectory.
Starship is nominal.
Trajectories all around, and Dan and Kate, we're at 5 minutes.
This tracking shot.
15
this is
seconds
cool.
Here into the flight. Everything looking good for the Super Heavy and for Starship today. What's it like there at Starbase?
See the hot staging ring off to the left side there. It's kind of cool that it's just staying in camera view like that.
Chris, to be able to see the mock diamonds with my own eyes, that was amazing. We are standing by for return of booster back to the launch tower. We have heard that we are for the catch of the booster.
Yeah, this
about
coming from one of our long
6:37 is our landing burn.
See the hot stage separate and fly.
We're about 40 seconds away.
Up in just about 30 seconds, we're going to look for the landing burn. We're going to command those 13 inner and middle ring engines to turn on.
Look at the heating in the engine compartment. This is crazy. Look at that. Look at it glow.
Eventually moding down to only 3 engines for that precision flight into the tower.
Right now, booster
aerodynamic heating inside the engine compartment there, the glow, that's crazy. That's so cool looking.
Entry back for its precision landing at the
10 seconds away to landing burn.
Once again, we're going to ignite first the center 13 engines.
Landing burn. Oh, we got 1 engine out. 1 engine out. Oh, we're down to 3. Okay, that's normal.
As the booster slows down for its landing. And we just heard the sonic boom.
Catch it! Catch it! Come on!
What an incredible sight to see the Super Heavy booster gliding down into the chopstick arms once again.
Take it on and pop the booster.
Look at that. That is so cool.
Stuck the landing.
Again.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That will never get old.
It's so crazy that they can just...
We saw 12 out of 13
They're doing that
light
so
for that
reliably.
landing burn. Booster still able to make its way with that final precision burn on the 3 engines in for the tower catch. So booster caught. Meanwhile,
That's
keeping an
crazy.
eye on ship. Still got 6
So they did have...
Raptors
They had
burn.
one engine out
Those are
on the
gonna
landing burn,
continue.
but they were able to make up for it, and then it was good. Starship still doing well. We got all engines running on Starship. We're still accelerating.
Really cool view. Again, a million shout outs to all of our avionics team who make these cameras possible for us. That's looking.
We got about 45 seconds until Starship engine cutoff here.
Where you can see a pretty
Everything's looking pretty good. We're getting a pretty good view. Look at this.
One of which we're going to hopefully relight
Oh.
a little bit.
Oh no, we got asymmetrical thrust. Oh no, we got engines out.
And we
Oh no.
engines go out.
Oh no, she's tumbling.
It looks like we are losing attitude control.
Ah, she's tumbling. No. No. Oh no. Oh no.
Ship FTS is saved.
Oh, FTS is saved.
So we're still
What?
getting video down from the ship. You can see we've lost several engines and we've lost attitude control of the vehicle.
We still have video, which is interesting, and FTS is saved, so there's no flight termination system right now. I mean, she may just be coming crashing down into the ocean. Oh, and we lost the cameras. No, oh, we're back. It's still there.
So we'll continue
We're down to one engine. We only got one. We got one engine on. It's still trying to run it.
For those of you that just recently joined us, we had a successful liftoff of the 8th test flight of Starship, followed by a successful stage separation. We saw the booster, actually, you can see it just behind us here. The booster had a successful catch back at the tower. Unfortunately, it seems as though we lost the attitude control of the ship. We are standing by as we listen in with the teams on the nets to understand what information we're able to provide you. We will provide that as soon as we are able, but it's pretty incredible to take a moment and see the booster just behind us. Certainly a different view than last time.
And at this point, we've essentially lost contact with the ship. We're no longer receiving telemetry at this moment. So we were only about 20 seconds away or so from the end of that ship ascent burn. We saw several of the engines start to cut out. Once you lose enough of those center engines, you're going to lose attitude control. And so we did see the ship start to go into a spin. And at this point, we have lost contact with the ship. So we're going to listen in for a little bit. I think it's pretty obvious we're not going to continue the rest of the mission today, but just give us a couple more minutes. We'll bring you more information as it comes in.
Well, we lost it again, and almost at the same spot too. Like the same spot and same kind of same manner, right? The engine's cut off. We went to asymmetrical thrust, and then it went into that death roll there. Not great. Not great, which means we're probably not rapidly going to Flight 9. We're not going to get any of the objectives done today that they really need to get done. The engine relights, the Starlink payload deployment, the reentry tests, all that stuff. No dice for today. So that's a shame. But booster, though, fantastic. The booster's been performing great. Another catch on the booster, which is awesome. Like, I wouldn't call it flawless, right? We lost 2 engines on the boost back burn. One of them came back on the landing burn. The other one did not. So, but yeah, we did not. We're not going to see Starship any longer. They lost contact with that. And what'll be interesting, so the last time, they did report last time that the flight termination system triggered. And that's why we saw that's why we saw so much debris. If you remember the videos from the last Flight 7 when it broke up, we saw like tons and tons of debris. Like, I don't know, it was pretty cool looking on video. But they, this time I heard the call out on the net that said the flight termination system had been safed, meaning like turned off so that it was no longer going to trigger. Which usually means that it's going to make its way all the way, it's high enough and far enough that it will make its way out to the Indian Ocean for the landing. But yeah, and that's why we kept seeing it tumble. So normally if it's like tumbling out of control like that, flight termination system should probably trigger. But it didn't. We kept seeing video of it tumbling around. So I wonder if that's, I'm wondering if that's going to cause an issue, like longer FAA investigation. I don't know. But yeah, right now we got nothing. Let's see. Nope.
All right,
They're
so
coming back
with you real quick. So can confirm we did lose contact with the ship. Unfortunately, this happened last time too, so we've got some practice at this now. We've got a lot of measures in place, like debris response areas where we coordinate very closely with air traffic control. We have a lot of measures put before we ever launch a rocket to make sure that we're keeping the public safe. Those worked last time, and they're actively in work right now. So just to recap real quick, everything we saw, we lifted off right at the top of our window, essentially at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Booster was able to get us all the way up into space, made its way back here. It's sitting on the tower right behind us, our 3rd ever catch. Starship ignited all 6 of its Raptor engines. It was just about 20 or 30 seconds away. We'll get exact times from the end of its ascent burn when we started to see some engines go out on ship. Eventually lost attitude control and then lost contact with the ship shortly after. So obviously a lot to go through, a lot to dig through. We're going to go right at it. The primary reason we do these flight tests is to learn. We have some more to learn about this vehicle, but we're going to be right back here in the not too distant future, and we're going to get a ship to space.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We fly to learn, and we're learning a lot. And as is the case with developmental programs such as the Starship program, progress isn't always linear. So at this point, we're going to close out our webcast for the day. But before we do, we'd like to give a shout out to our viewers, of course, as well as our partners, both here in Cameron County and around the world. Now, once we know more about the mission today, we'll provide you with updates on SpaceX.com as well as at SpaceX on X. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Well, that is unfortunate that we lost the Starship. The upper stage not gonna do its mission. We're cutting it short by about an hour here today, so that's no good. It was almost the exact same time as the last time. It was like 8 minutes, and I think they said they lost contact at 8 minutes and 20 seconds the last time, and this time the engines all shut down right at 8. We started seeing engine shut down 8:05, right? So let's go. We'll go back over here. We'll take a look at it. So actually here, I'll put myself where? Here? No. Here? No. Here. I'll go up here. So here's a look. Let's see. Let's throw our replay text up on the screen so people don't get confused. So here's where we were. Everything was running just fine. We had no no issues going on. Everything was good. And then you watch the engines in the bottom right-hand corner. 801, 802, 803, 804, 805. Lost one engine, two engine, three engines. So right now at 807, we've got quite a bit of asymmetrical thrust going on. We lost one vacuum Raptor engine. We lost two sea-level vacuum engines, sea-level Raptor engines. And, those are really your TVC, your thrust vector control, to counteract the asymmetrical thrust. And now we only have one of those. And that only lasted for another second here to 808. Then that shut down. We can see kind of the shutdown gases coming out the back of the vehicle there. And now, at this point, we got asymmetrical thrust, and that's where the tumbling starts. So that's where just starts going end over end. The engines and the computer system are probably trying to get it to its intended orbit, but now that it's tumbling, like the thrust vector is going all over the place. So yeah, you're not hitting your target orbit anymore at that point. So close though. But yeah, somebody said, so as we go back to, I guess, yeah, interestingly, if you go back to like right about here, so we're at 755. If we watch the fuel meter, well, the fuel does it. Some people are saying that something happened with the fuel. It does kind of jump around a little bit. Right, and that's right as the engines shut off. Now, that itself doesn't necessarily surprise me, because like as soon as you start losing that thrust, like the fuel is all pushed towards the bottom of the tanks while you're under acceleration, and if all of a sudden that acceleration slows way down, it's going to slosh around in the tank, and so that can probably cause your fuel meters there to kind of jump around a little bit. And so that doesn't necessarily surprise me. And then especially once you start tumbling, then the fuel meters kind of they're going nuts. And that's really probably just the fuel sloshing around inside the tanks, and the gauge is really having a hard time figuring out what the actual fuel level is, especially when it's tumbling like this. Unfortunate. I mean, other than that, like I don't really see anything. I don't see anything too unusual with the fuel level, like leading up to it. Like it's pretty much just kind of consistently going down. It's just, looks pretty normal. And then the first time we see any sort of movement on that fuel is as soon as the engine shuts off. And that's where, like, which came first, the chicken or the egg here? I mean, I would seem to believe that it's probably just sloshing in the tank once you lose that forward acceleration. Because then you also look at, well, no, the speed just kind of hung up for a second, but yeah, that's... let's see. Video still at 749 seems to show a flame near a Raptor vacuum in the engine bay. So that was 749, says Framrick. Let's go back to 749. Where do you see that? I'm looking. I don't see a... Oh. Well, I'm not... Are we talking about, like... It does kind of look like we got, like, a glow going on. If you kind of just watch the... Like, are we looking through a fire here? Or is this just the exhaust that we're seeing? Like, I don't know what... Am I looking through a flame? Not sure what I'm looking at here. Kind of just looks like engine glow to me, but... Yeah, just trying to look and see if we see anything unusual. I mean, we could see some mock diamonds still from the sea level engines, so they look like they're doing okay. See a little bit of movement, still looks okay. And then we start losing it. I don't see any flames here in this image. So I don't see any fires that would have shut it down, at least not in that picture. I don't know. Lots of videos on X of it coming back down over Florida and blowing up. Is that so? Well, somebody, if you're on X and you see a video of the vehicle coming back down, somebody tag me or at me or whatever you do on X these days, so I can find it. Oh, I guess I do see. I found one here. I'm assuming, like, I don't know, all these are. You know, now you got to kind of be careful. Of, you know, is it a fake? Or is it from the last mission? I don't, you know, it's hard to know what's what. But it does look like there's some video footage on X of the breakup. I probably won't show these right now because I haven't found any that I could like confirm is legit at the moment. I mean, I believe they're legit, but the hard part now, so like the last time, it was pretty easy to confirm that they're legit because it hadn't happened before. Now it's like there's some people I already saw just scrolling through my feed, like some people just posting old videos. It was like, well, I recognize that exact video because that's from the last time. So yeah. But yeah, almost the exact same spot in the mission, which is crazy. Yeah, so unfortunately, we saw some tumbling. Somebody said bottom left there's a flame. I don't see any flames in the bottom left. I mean, it could be engine, could just be engine glow. I don't really see any flames. I mean, this is just like color of the end. That's not a flame. I mean, it does seem like the very first thing that went out was a vacuum engine. So the vacuum engine goes out, and then the other engines go out, and you know, who knows? Did the vacuum engine just like break apart and take out fuel lines from the other engines? Did it damage the other engines? We don't know. Yeah, so that's going to be a little bit of a setback, especially if you consider that this is now, you know, the second flight in a row that had almost the exact same failure. Oh, that's going to be a bummer. I thought we were going to be in good shape today. Thought we'd see it go all the way to re-entry, but yeah, it's time wasters. How can two Starships in a row fail while the first 6 launches were successful? I know it seemed like we were doing so well, and then the last 2 failed in the exact same manner. Basically, I mean, we don't know if it's the exact same cause, but like right at just over 8 minutes, same failure. Don't know if it's the same root cause, but timing wise, it's the same. So, unfortunately, no good. All right. Well, I guess I'll wrap things up here, and we'll end the broadcast. I'll say, it's Ed Baumgarten. Actually, that's probably. Why don't we take a look at that? Ed brings up over on Facebook. We had this last time too, but Ed said that he's seeing flight diversions over the Bahamas, Caribbean maybe. Which would make sense because that's right about where it's going to come down. So, yeah, there might be some, hold on, let me get logged in here. There might be some flight diversions if there's debris coming down, which happened the last time as well. We had air traffic control had to divert some aircraft, and there were some aircraft that had to declare emergencies because they were minimum fuel, and so yeah, that's not great. But yeah, so where'd I go? There. So the question would be, I don't know how we're gonna find anybody. Yeah, here's you've got this plane here that's diverting to Georgetown. So you got a diversion there. You got a diversion here. Embraer Phenom 300 diverting. That's not a diversion. That's not really a Oh, here's a diversion right there. This is supposed to be Atlanta to San Juan. It's diverting to Miami now. Like, that's going all the way back to Miami. No, this is a Oh, no, that's not a diversion. This one's a diversion. This one does look like a diversion to me. Might be just circling right now. So, yeah, we've definitely got some diversions happening. Cessna Citation looks like it's bouncing around. We got another Bombardier Global Express bouncing around. Here's one that's supposed to go Teterboro to San Martin. A lot of diversions happening, it looks like. Some of these are not too bad. Tampa to San Juan, that looks like it's diverting. This flight looks like it's diverting. So yeah, looks like we got some pretty big disruptions. I mean, it's, we got dozens of planes here that are all getting diverted around the debris, potential debris field, and then we may get debris coming down in Turks and Caicos again. Turks and Caicos is going to love these SpaceX launches. Got another flight supposed to be going to JFK in New York that's just kind of circling right now. Another one's supposed to be going to Newark, circling. This flight's supposed to be going to Fort Lauderdale. Looks like they're circling. Yeah, we got some big disruptions going on. Unfortunately. But, well, it happens sometimes, I guess. So, looks like a couple people have posted. I see you tagged me in Discord and shared some videos. I don't know the legitimacy of those, so I'm not going to show them on the stream, but they seem pretty legit. So if you want to see them, consider joining our Discord. Head over there. A bunch of people have shared some videos of potentially what may be the breakup of the Starship. I'm going to go take a look, do some investigation. But yeah, consider taking a look. I'll probably repost some on Twitter or X. And so you can find me or follow me over there. I'll repost some. If you see them, I'd love to see more. So if you see them on X, tag me because I'll repost it. Would love to see any video footage that comes out of this. So yeah, tag me on X so that I see them. And we'll go from there. We'll see when the next mission will be. It was about a month and a half from Flight 7 and now. So if it's going to be a similar type investigation, you know, we could be looking at, you know, end of April, early May before we see the next Starship flight. Don't know if it's going to be a longer investigation because this is now 2 in a row. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So that's it. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to wrap up. We can continue the conversation over on Discord. So consider joining the Discord and make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us today. And hopefully we'll be back for more now that I'm coming out of my personal busy season. And maybe we can do some more of this. I got to do a Lego build at some point. I have 2 giant Lego sets. A Mars rover and a lunar the lunar module that I need to build on stream one of these days. So we might do that sometime soon. Now that I'm gonna have some more time. Pork Chop Jimmy says, "How about a 2-minute Tuesday?" We threw in a 2-minute Tuesday at last year, just out of nowhere. Maybe we'll do another one of those. We could do another 2-minute Tuesday. I'll surprise you again with just another random 2-minute Tuesday video. Did you build the Saturn V? I did build the Saturn V. Saturn V is back there in the corner. Oh, you can't see it. This is right there. So, all right. Well, we'll be back again. We'll do some more of this. Thanks for joining me here today. My name's Tori. This is Overlook Horizon. I'll see you in the next video. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good rest of the day. See ya.